What's going on, YouTube? So today I'm gonna be doing the brakes on this Troxel crude tanker, and this is the one we'll be doing right here. Now first I'm gonna go over some of the tools, which is well, of course I have my jack, my 20-ton jack from Harbor Freight, and I have that along with a tower to hold this up. As you can see, I already went in I loosened up the brakes with these happen to be 11mm or 7/16. So you just back up the slack adjuster until it sits back onto itself, and I'll show you that right now. But that's the first thing you need. Lift up the truck, release the brakes, and then of course we're going to take it off with our 1-inch impact here. Got my 33mm on there, and that's for the wheel nuts. And then once I have those off, I have a tire iron here that I will use to pry off the tires. And you're also going to need just any small hammer, some vice grips, a screwdriver, and this is a like a burring tool, carbide burr, and I use this to take out the bushing on the brake pins. This is optional. I mean, if you guys have the tools to, there's all different kinds of tools. There's a little press that you can use or to take off that bushing for the brakes. But I like to use this, and I'll show you guys how. Then I also have my little wheel here, little 60 grit sanding wheel to clean out that where the bushing goes. You also need a little bit of grease. Then also, if you don't have that tool to press in the bushings, I'll use my brass hammer, and I'll show you guys how to do that right there. Then of course your brakes, your air line, and well, the carpet. As you guys know, I like to work, I like to keep my work area clean. That's why I use that carpet. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this wheel off, and then we'll take it from there. Alright guys, now that we're down to the drum, what you want to do is just slide it out. Now if it doesn't slide out, you just hit it on the sides until it pops loose. See that one hit? You'll feel it drop. So we'll take that off, set it to the side. Now what you guys need to do is go ahead and take these brakes off, and I'll show you guys a little easy way to do it. All you gotta do is in between the small spring, take your screwdriver, you just drive it in there and pop it off. Same thing on the other side. You drive it in there, you pop it off. We'll take those off. Then this, you'll just take it off as like so. If it's stuck, you just hit it a little bit, and we're off. Now that we got those off, these are the pins that I was telling you about, and the bushing is in there. Now this one, it looks like I'm gonna have to hit it out, and if I can't hit it out, I might even have to use some the torch to take it out. And as you can see, it's going to be a pain. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw some penetrating fluid on there and see if I can get it loose. But yeah, once I get it out, I'll bring you guys back and show you how to take out these bushings. Alright, so as you guys can see, my old beat 'em up method didn't work, so I had to break out my ball joint service kit, and it actually fits right there. So now I'm just gonna press this out. There she goes. You guys can see, there it goes. Alright, there it is. So you guys can see, it's not always that easy. Again, if you have that I think I want to say well, Tiger Tool has theirs, but I mean that's like $300 and something, and this is just a ball joint press from Harbor Freight for 60 or 70 bucks, and that gets the same job done as that $300 tool. Like if I really wanted to make it specially for this, I can weld this on there or just tack it on there and have it ready for cases like this. Alright, so we'll go to the next step, which is taking off those bushings. And let me just explain real quick how I'm gonna be doing that. Now what I want to do is, if you can find the groove, because these bushings have a groove, if you can find the groove, you want to go opposite of that groove. And if you can't find the groove, usually I just do it right here on the bottom, and I'll just work it back and forth with my carbide tool. And once I see it break the bushing, then I could just tap it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys that right now. Alright, so as you guys can see right there, I bit a little too much because I was trying to set up the camera, and then I took it down for a little bit, but that's more or less how it's gonna look. Now all you gotta do is take your screwdriver, you can see I couldn't get this edge right here, so you just take your screwdriver, you pop that out, and then as you can see right now, you'll see it all move like so, and then we'll just tap it out with the hammer. Let's see if I could do this one-handed. Yep, there it comes. Alright, so there it is. Now I'm just gonna sand that hole down. Well, I'm gonna take the other one off. I'll sand this hole down a little bit to make it nice and clean. Then I'll bring you guys back for the installation. Alright guys, so for this part, installing the bushings, as you can see I have the new ones here from the new kit. First we're going to put just a little bit of grease here on the inside, just to make sure they slide in smoothly. You don't have to use too much, just get a nice light coat. And this is the way I do it. So far, this is the easiest way that I've been able to put these in with little damage. So you want to just set it in straight. We'll just tap it in a little bit. And once it gets hard, what you're going to do is you're going to lay this brass hammer, flat up against there. And then we'll hit it with the regular hammer. Alright, so it topped out. And as you can see, we have little to no damage here on the edge. And it's in flush. So now we'll take our pin here. We'll just throw a little bit, also a light coating of grease. I'll just use whatever came out the back. Just throw some of that on there, coat it, and it should slip right in. I'll just work it a little bit. And there it is. We'll do the same thing with the bottom one. Just make sure this is nice and lined up. Now some guys like it to be free spinning, but I mean it doesn't really matter. These parts will, the brakes are going to wear down way before this does, so I'm not worried about it. So we'll go ahead and do the same thing with the bottom one. And just make sure, well, the way I like to put them is to keep this, the split, keep it up towards the top. That way next time if it's me that I'm redoing the brakes again, I won't struggle too much. So remember, we'll just tap it in a little bit to sit in there, and then we'll just hit it with our two hammers. And if in case you do damage this edge right here, all you can do is take that burring tool or sandpaper or something just to take off those burrs. But since I'm using the brass hammer, it doesn't really do that much damage. Alright, in order to prepare these new brakes in the kit, well, of course you saw was the bushing and the pins. And then we have these other pins right here, or springs, two small, one big. Then we also have these little rods here. Now these little rods, they're gonna go on the second hole on the small side. So check where your small side is at, and that's where these little rods are gonna go. In order to put them in, we'll just put it in the hole, line it up on the bottom where it sits, and we'll tap it. And there it is. Now it's stuck in there, it won't come out. Do it on the other one, same deal. And there it is. Might take a couple times to get it in there, but that's how it goes. Okay, now we got these rollers here, and the rollers, you're just gonna set them on the clip like so. Then I like to put them on to where I can push this here and it'll engage. So on this small side, you'll just sit it in there, and then you could use a screwdriver or something, and we'll just go ahead and push it in, and you'll see that these little ears right here, they'll snap into these holes. So just make sure that they're in properly. So again, we'll just slip that on, put that on there, and we'll push the spring in to where it sits. Make sure they're in there. Now from here, the easiest way, I'm going to show you the easiest way to do it is I'm going to take one, I'm going to hook it up, I'm going to flip it over, and I'll carry it like this, and I'll set it on top of this deal over here. So let me go ahead and take you guys over there. Alright, so we'll just slip this whole assembly over. We'll set that on that side. We'll snap it in. Alright, as you can see, that's on the roller over there, and it's on the pin over here. And now from here, we're just going to push it down. You can use both hands. Push it down and get that roller in place. Then we'll just move this around and we'll set that in place. There you guys go. And now we'll go ahead and put on the springs. Now I've seen different ways of guys putting in springs. Some use just a screwdriver, or some use just the pliers, or if you got that tool, you could just that spring tool, you could just go ahead and use that. Make it much easier. But then again, this is also easy. So we'll just set our springs inside. Make sure if they're like this, make sure it's out. Okay, so make sure they're out. Now, since on that side the roller, I went ahead and I pushed it back into where it's sitting on right on the S-cam groove. So we'll just put our pliers on there, get them nice and tight. Now all you got to do is push down a little bit, and it'll go in. I like to tap it just to make sure it locks in correctly. Again, same thing on the other side. We'll tap it just to make sure it's in. And then also another thing you guys want to do is make sure you check the check your sensor here. And I always like to push it back a little bit, and then we'll push it in all the way. Let me bring you guys over here. You can see that sensor right there. You can see it'll move back and forth. You see right there, you push it back. But what I like to do is I like to push it all the way in until it hits on the hub. Then all you got to do is just leave a small clearance on there. So we'll just take our screwdriver and we'll just pull it back a little bit. Make sure it's nice and free. And there it is. Now you don't always have to check that, but I like to do it just to make sure it's good. Alright guys, so that's pretty much the installing of the brakes. Now just we'll set our drum back on, our tires, And then we'll go ahead and call the driver to come out and put some air in the system, and we'll adjust the brakes. And this is the brakes. That's what I had told you before on the slack adjuster. This is just a 11 millimeter or 7/16, and that's what you want. Where you want it right there is you want the brakes to sit just right on the groove right there. That'll make it much easier to put in those springs. That way you won't be hassling with it too much. Alright, so there you guys go. Now I'm just going to put everything back together the way I took it off. And that's pretty much it. Pretty basic, pretty easy. Remember, you guys, have a good day. Be safe out there. Like and subscribe. Help me out. Thumbs up if you can. That would really help out my channel. Peace.